Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking open the U.S. Army's Playbook for Intelligence, ADP 2.0. This is all about how the Army takes a mountain of raw information and turns it into a real, decisive edge on the battlefield.
So, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the core problem, what we call the fog of war. Then we'll define what intelligence really is, see the huge team that makes it happen, and break down the 3 essential skills they use. After that, we'll look at the intel cycle, the engine that drives it all, and finally see the ultimate payoff, turning chaos into victory.
All right, let's get right into it. To really get why intelligence is so critical, you first have to appreciate the environment it was designed for, a world of absolute and often dangerous uncertainty. I mean, just imagine it for a second. You're a commander. You're responsible for every single soldier under your command. You're up against a smart, fast-moving enemy. Your information is spotty, some reports are flat-out contradictory, and every single choice you make has massive consequences. Do you push forward? Do you dig in? Is the enemy really where you think they are, or is it a trap?
You know that state of confusion, that friction, that gut-wrenching lack of clarity? That's the fog of war. And intelligence isn't just some helpful add-on, it is the Army's entire system, the disciplined process for cutting through that fog and giving a commander the clarity they need to act with confidence.
So what is intelligence according to the Army? Well, it's way more than just spy games and secret intel. As you're about to see, it's a core function, just as vital to winning as putting boots on the ground.
The official doctrine gives us this really specific definition. But look at all those verbs. Processing, integrating, evaluating, analyzing, interpreting. The big takeaway here is that intelligence isn't the raw data itself. It's the finished product you get after a whole lot of brainpower has been applied to that data.
And what I think is really cool here is how ADP 2.0 shows us that intelligence is actually 3 things at once. It's a product, something tangible a commander can actually use. It's a process, a cycle that is always running. And it's a function, a fundamental capability of the entire U.S. Army.
And here's why that matters. The intelligence warfighting function is one of the Army's 6 core functions. That puts it on the exact same level as things like movement, firepower, and defense. It's not a support role, no. It's right at the heart of how the Army plans, prepares for, and executes every single mission.
But here's the thing, the Army is not doing this alone, not by a long shot. To really be effective, they tap into this massive global network of partners. It's a team sport on a national level.
The doctrine is super clear about this. The Army's intel work is just one piece of the much larger U.S. intelligence enterprise. What that means is that a small unit on the ground anywhere in the world is never truly on its own. They can reach back and tap into the incredible power of the entire U.S. government's assets and experts.
And just look at who's on this team. I mean, you've got all the heavy hitters. The DIA focused on military threats, the CIA with its global human intelligence, the NSA listening in, the NGA with its eyes in the sky, even the FBI. This incredible network is what allows the Army to pull together all these different puzzle pieces to see the clearest, most complete picture possible.
Okay, so we've got this massive, all-star team, but what do these intelligence professionals actually do? Well, ADP 2.0 boils it all down to 3 fundamental skills, or what they call core competencies. It all comes down to these 3 jobs. First, you've got intelligence synchronization. That's all about making sure the intel folks and the operators are working hand in glove, asking the right questions. Then you have intelligence operations. That's the get your hands dirty part, collecting the info from drones, satellites, patrols, you name it. And finally, the magic happens with intelligence analysis, which is the critical thinking that turns all that raw data into something the commander can actually use to make a decision.
To really get what analysis is all about, this analogy is just perfect. Think about a football coach. They spend hundreds of hours watching game film, right? They're not just looking at what the other team did in the past. They're trying to predict what play they're going to run next. That's exactly what an intelligence analyst does. They give the commander a predictive edge to outsmart the competition.
And here's the real secret sauce. This whole thing isn't just about fancy satellites and high-tech gear. At its heart, intelligence is a human discipline. It takes serious critical thinking, the ability to be comfortable with not having all the answers, and, maybe most importantly, collaboration. You have to constantly challenge your own biases, and the best way to do that is to have a team that challenges them for you. Okay, so we've got the skills, but how does it all come together in a working system?
Well, these competencies are used inside a four-step cycle that's always running, like an engine, constantly feeding the commander's understanding. This is basically the four-stroke engine of Army Intel. It kicks off with plan and direct, where the commander says, okay team, this is what I need to know. That leads to collect, where all the assets go to work gathering that info. Then you've got produce, where analysts piece it all together, find the patterns, and create the actual intelligence. And finally, disseminate, which is just about getting that finished product to the right person at the right time.
But here's the catch. It's not just a simple 1, 2, 3, 4 assembly line. The two most important activities, analyzing the data and assessing the situation, are happening constantly throughout the entire cycle. It's a living, breathing process that has to adapt in real time as the battlefield shifts and changes.
So, after all this massive enterprise, these core skills, this constant process, what's the point? What's the big payoff at the end of the day? Well, it all boils down to one simple concept: decision superiority.
The doctrine itself says it best, right in the foreword. Intelligence enables mission command. So what does that actually mean in plain English? It means giving leaders on the ground the understanding and the confidence to make the right call, right now, without having to ask for permission. It's about empowering initiative.
Really, it's the difference between playing defense and playing offense. It's like a company that uses market research to see a trend before anyone else and get a new product out the door first. Good intelligence lets the Army anticipate and act, not just wait around and react. It turns what could be a threat into a golden opportunity.
When you strip everything else away, this is what ADP 2.0 is all about. It's a framework for turning the chaos and noise of the battlefield into clear understanding. And that understanding leads to better, faster decisions. And those decisions, they save lives and they win battles. It's as simple as that.
And that, of course, leaves us with the million-dollar question. In a world full of deception and misinformation, how do you separate the real signal from all the noise? Well, that's a deep dive for another day. If you found this useful, subscribe for more explainers. Thanks for watching.